All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome to the main event. And in this matchup, we have these two going up against each other head to head. We have the good old Sennelier brand, right? The gold standard, the #1 oil pastel that you can get, in my opinion. Going against the contender, the Haiya Paul Rubens, the newcomer on the block. And I'm going to test these guys direct comparison as far as their ability to spread, their ability to blend, their opaqueness, the ability to layer, and see if they can layer over each other. Okay? All right, so sit back, and I got a few tests here that we're going to do. And first, I'm going to show you my little setup here. Okay, so on this side here, we have the black paper. And if you're not familiar with black paper, it's this stuff by Fabriano. This is a 9x12, and I'm using the smooth side, okay? Black paper, 9x12. Over here, we have Canson watercolor paper, 9x12. Looks like this. Okay, this is the textured side. I use this a lot when I do plein air work. I really like the paper. Both papers are 140 pounds, so they're good weight, about the same thickness. Both are 9x12. All right, now let's look at the oil pastels. Over here we have the Haiya set. This is the 48 count set that I just got, less than a week old. I've done 2 paintings on them. All right, so I'm a beginner as far as using them. Okay. And then over here I have some Grand Sennelier sticks. I've been using Sens for close to 15 years. I have a lot of experience using this brand, done hundreds of paintings with them, and I have just a vast variety of different colors for them. We're going to use the Grands just because these sticks are relatively new, and I want to compare kind of newer to newer, okay? So these are the Haiyas, and you can see the colors that I pulled off. I got a white. Here's the Haiya white, got the Sen white. Got a pale yellow, got a pale yellow. Got a ash, or like a light blue, got a light blue. And a nice bright orange color, same over here, green, brown, brown. All right, I want to do like for like, same colors on each side, just to see. We'll try different colors, because I know different colors have different consistencies of oil, wax, and all that good stuff, okay? We have a couple reds up here as well. Right, and over here I got a little cheat sheet to make sure I don't forget anything. Okay, so let's get right to it. I don't like wasting any time, and I don't want this video to get too long. So first thing I'm going to do is a feel test. I'm just going to feel it in my fingers. All right, and this is something that you just have to feel. So my hands are clean. I'm going to grab a Haiya white. We'll start off with the Haiya white. And let me make sure I got a nice clean stick here. So there's nothing on it. Okay, perfect. Now I'm just going to rub this on my finger, and hopefully you guys can see it. Let me do it over here. Hopefully you can see it as I rub this on my finger, okay? You can see that white come off, okay? And it feels pretty soft. There's some creaminess to it. Feels pretty good. I might mistaken this for the Sen white at first if I didn't know. Okay, and it spreads on my fingers pretty well. You can see I can keep rubbing that off, and you can see how much of that white comes off my finger, and it feels pretty good. Somewhat creamy, a little soft, but overall pretty decent on the softness and the creaminess of it, and how much white's coming off my finger. Okay, so there's the Haiya white. We'll put that right here for now. I'm going to go ahead and clean my fingers now. And then we're going to test the Sen white, just on feel, right? A lot of using oil pastels is how it feels, right? This is a medium that you use with your hands, okay? So here's the Sen white, and you see I have a clean finger now, and it's dry. Make sure it's dry. All right, okay, so let's rub it on there. Oh, there it goes. Now I'm not putting any more pressure on it. I'm putting about the same, but I feel I can get just slightly a little bit more of that white off. Overall, the feelingness is close to the same as far as how it feels on my fingers. compared to the Haiya white. Okay. All right, so they're pretty close. I would say maybe there's a little bit more white coming off the Sen stick than the Haiya stick. Okay. Let's try a different color. Let's try red. Let me make sure again that my fingers are cleaned up. I gotta move fast because I know this video could get very long. All right, here we got a red. Okay, and I'll try to get like for like. I know they're just slightly off, but they're close. All right, here's red. And it's a little bit more stiffness, not as creamy as that white. Okay, that white was much more creamier. Right, there's a little bit of stiffness as I try to drag that across, but I can get that on there. Not as slick, a little bit more resistance, but it's a soft brand. Okay, now let's go ahead and use that Sen red just to see. These not pretty close in color. I'm trying to get the same color here. Let's try to pull this off with just finger. Okay, a little bit more color is pulling off. The feeling's close to the same, but there's just a little bit more color coming off the stick compared to the Haiya red. Okay, you can see the difference there. I'm rubbing and I'm actually putting a little bit of pressure there, right there. I'm trying to get that color to get off on my finger, okay? This one, I didn't have to put a lot of pressure at all. I could just rub it and it just came right off, okay? So that's a field test. So far, when I rub on my fingers with the two brands, there's more color coming off the Sennelier stick. I tested the white, tested the red. Okay, next test. I'm going to spread these out and just see how well do these spread on this paper up here, okay? So let's put back these whites here, and let's try the yellow. Let's try the pale yellow, okay? Now they're almost identical in color. All right, so let's put these to the side. First of all, let's try this yellow on this black paper. We'll try the Haiya first, okay? Let me make sure everything's in view here because I don't want to mess up this view. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of do a little circle, okay, with this yellow. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to put a good amount on there. There's that yellow. Okay. That's the Haiya. Here is the Sen. We'll put it right over here. Okay. And I'm trying to get the same amount and the same size. Okay. All right, now I'm going to tell you feel-wise, this one moved a little easier as far as its ability to move it. I felt less resistance, okay? Just feeling it how it drags on the paper. Okay, there's a little bit more resistance on the Haiya. There is a little bit more of a creamy feel, more of a softer feel on the Sen. That's just something you got to feel, okay? Now let's try to just move the color, okay? I'm just going to take this, I'm going to spread. I'm going to spread it out. I'm going to try to push it out in all directions, okay? I'm just going to see how far the color will move. Okay? Moves pretty easy, moves pretty good. All right, you can see that right there against that black. It's pretty easy to see that. All right, let's clean my hands because I don't want to, contaminate one to the other. All right, so we got clean hands again. Let's do the Sen pale yellow and move that yellow. Move it out. They're about the same as far as how far and how wide I can move it. I would say maybe the Haiyas do a little bit better according to this color. And they're a little bit more stronger in the color, this color anyways, all right? See that yellow? I can see more of the yellow. And they're close to the same as far as spreading out. Maybe I can get a little bit more on that Sen, but I see more yellow here than I see there. So far, this yellow is kind of outperforming this yellow. All right, let's try a different color. Let's go with the blue. Maybe the blue is a little different. Let's see how these guys perform. Okay, so I'm going to kind of do the same thing, and we'll try the Haiya over here. And I'm just going to make a little circle about that size. Okay, That felt good. That felt nice and creamy, right? Here's the sun. This one feels creamy also. Gosh, I don't know if I could tell if I were blind actually, right? Which one's a little bit more blue? I think this one's got a little bit more pigment in it. All right, so let's put that in there. I'll put a little bit more on the Haiya side. Okay. All right, let's move the Haiya one first. We'll move it out. Move it out. See how much I can spread, how much that color is still there after I spread this all out. Right, a lot of stuff you're doing in oil pastel, you're really blending, trying to move the color around, right? And how well does that work? Okay, so there's that. Let's go ahead and clean the fingers. All right, let's try the Sennelier blue. Okay, push it around. Okay, it spreads out pretty good. Both felt about the same. And I can spread that out pretty nice, actually. Right, now that lost a little bit of its luminosity, I guess, its color. Right, I still retain good color here in this Haiya. All right, so far it looks like, at least when I spread it out, that the Haiya is retaining a little bit more of its color than when I first started, than the Sen. So far, they spread almost the exact same. The way they spread out, they feel a little different. My dog's like barking in his sleep, so I got to wake him up and said, "Hey, I'm trying to film something right now." All right, so let's try different colors. Should we try the green? Let's see if the green makes any difference. Okay, so I'm going to try some different colors here just to see how well they spread out. Now this color feels a little oily. I don't know if you can tell on the camera or in this video here, but there's like an oil sheen almost. I can see like, you know, a little bit of shininess there where I don't see that with the sun green. Okay, so that's just something I noticed there. All right, let's do a little test with this. This is nice and creamy. Ooh, it's nice and slick. All right, there's that color, that nice green color. Okay, here's the sun version of the same color, for pretty much the same color. And that one felt nice and slick also. This one's a little warmer. I see a little bit more yellow in this one. All right, let's put a little bit more here just in case I overstacked it. Okay, all right. Now let's spread these out. Now I'm going to clean my hands here. So again, trying to be fair in my test. I'm not biased for either one. I just have more experience with the scent. All right, let's try to move this green. Let's just see how it feels. So it's nice and soft, moves easy. I can spread that color out. No problem. No problem doing that. Let's go with the scent. Let's go ahead and clean the hands again. All right. Let's move this scent. Ooh, this one's creamy too. This one feels a little bit more creamier. This might be because the color is just a little bit more creamier. And boy, it's spreading really nice. You can see sometimes colors act a little differently. Sometimes they're just softer or they have more color to it. You can see how much that I spread that out. So from this color, the Send 1. Okay? So I felt like Haiya was better on the pale yellow and this blue, but I felt like when it came to this green, this Sen beat that one. Okay, so that's third round of the spreading test. See how well they spread. Let's try one last color. I'll put these two back down. Let's see, maybe we should try that red. Why not? Why don't we try these reds? They're pretty close. And make sure I clean the hands there. All right, let's go ahead and lift this up. Okay, here's the Haiya red. Again, I see a little bit of a sheen, not much. And there's the scent. So, you know, gloss here, matte finish here, basically. All right, let's go ahead and put on the Haiya. All right, it's pretty decent. I can get some color down there. I'm going to put some more down on that. Okay, nice and soft. There's the color. Let's go with the Sen. Close to the same version. It's probably a little brighter here. Yeah, it definitely is brighter. I didn't have the like for like on this one, so this might not be the best test. This is really soft and really creamy. I got to hold back. I think I need a little bit more here just to make this fair. All right, because that just came right off the stick with no problem. So let's kind of stack this up a little bit. All right, just so we can make it somewhat fair. Okay, now let's spread this one out first. We'll go with the Haiya, spread it out. All right, that spreads nice. It's soft. Right, I can almost spread it right back down to the black paper. This one's kind of disappearing on me, but it's still there. I can still see it. Okay, so now let's clean the hands. Let's go with that Sennelier test on this nice bright red. Let's just see. It was very soft when I put it down, so yeah, it's just creamier. This feels more like a butter to me. More like a cream. I'm trying to spread out here. Okay. So felt better, felt softer. I was able to spread that out easier. Might not be the fairest test since they're slightly different on their color, but I think Sen wins on both this one and this one. I think Haiya wins on these two. Okay, so far maybe we got an even match. All right, now we're going to go to the white paper. We're going to do some layering tests. I want to layer colors. Actually, just one more I want to do. I want to do the white. I want to do the white because I always say how good that Sen white is. It's the best white in the world. Let's test it against the Haiya white. All right. And now, I used a lot of this Haiya white on my last wave painting, okay, because I was 100% Haiya's. Okay, let's start off with the Haiya white. I'm going to put a bunch down right here. Okay, went over it a couple times there. Sen white, same thing. Okay. Now, feel-wise, just feeling it, I felt the way that worked. The Sen just felt creamier. Felt like I was able to put more down on there, okay? I didn't press any harder than the other time. Just felt, when I put it in there, I could just feel it stack up with more color, okay? More white coming off that stick. All right, let's just kind of move this around a little bit. I'm not going to really spread it. I just kind of want to move it. I want to see how it feels on my fingers when I move it. There's some resistance. It's creamy. It moves. I can spread that out here a little bit on that. Okay, and if I wanted to, I can keep spreading out a little bit more, but I just kind of want to see what it felt like just on that little test right there. Now let's go with that Sen white. Okay, Sen white, clean fingers, and it's creamier. It's definitely softer. There's no doubt about it. Not only is it softer, but it's thicker. There's more white on it. All right, there's just more of that color coming off the stick when you put it down on paper. All right, and it just feels softer. It feels a little bit easier to move around than compared to the Haiya's. The Haiya's has a little bit more of a resistance to it. The Sen is nice and thick, lays down thick, and seems to be more opaque because it's just thicker when it goes down. There's more white coming off the stick, and I can really start spreading this out if I really want to. All right, in my opinion, and the Sen white, there is no match for it. This is a close second, I would say, but it is second place compared to number one as far as white goes. Okay, the Sen white is the best, and it still is the best. All right, okay. Now, I just want to put that out there. Not that the Haiya white's bad. The Haiya white is good. It is thick. It's creamy, but it's not as creamy and thick as the Sen white. Just isn't. Okay. All right. Let's go to the white Canson watercolor paper. It's got a little texture to it. I'm going to put some color down, and we're going to layer. We're going to layer. First, we're going to start off with the brown. We're going to start off with the brown Haiya. Okay, and I try to get as close, same colors here. I'm going to put this like dark umber basically. We're going to put that on this white paper. There's the Haiya. Okay, back and forth there like that. Let's go ahead and push that around. That's nice and creamy. That feels good. Man, that cover is really nice. Look, I don't see any speckle. I don't see any white paper underneath that. That feels really good. That brown was nice and creamy. All right, felt like that sun white actually. All right, let's grab the same. This is another burnt umber, but it's by Sen. Let's go and make sure we have a clean edge there. All right, let's go and put some dark umber, the Sen version of that. Okay, and I'll go back and forth twice, just like I did with the Haiya. Okay, let's go ahead and cover up that paper now. Let's see how well this blends. Feels pretty good. Not bad. Very comparable to the Haiyas. Very close. It's hard to tell. I would say this one might be a little bit easier to spread out, but not bad. There's that sun brown, dark umber. All right. Now I want to layer. Can these colors layer on top of each other? We're going to do a bright color on top of that dark. Let's go with this orange here. Right. You can see this color is nice, bright orange. They call it yellow deep. All right, whatever, yellow deep. Looks kind of orangey to me. All right, we're going to go Haiya on the Haiya. All right, we're going to put a mark there. We're just going to see if I can stack a color on top of itself, okay? I'm just going to put a mark down. And there you have it. We can definitely stack it. We can layer color on top of itself, all right? Same brand, okay? Let's look that up close. I want you to look at that color up close. You can see some brown. You can see some brown coming through. Okay, but the layer sits on top. That yellow sits on top. There's a little bit of scratch back happening, but for the most part, I'm able to stack the Haiya on top of itself, which is really nice, really helpful. All right, now let's try this yellow. This number, what is it? Number what? What are we here? Can't even tell. I don't even know what number it is. It doesn't matter. It's about the same color. All right, we're going to see if we can stack this yellow on this brown. So sun stacking on a sun. Let's see if that works. And that's working. I'm able to push in, and I can get some color to sit down. It's not as easy as that Haiya was, that's for sure. But it works. I can get the color to stack. Okay. It's close to the same. I'd say that the yellow stacking on that brown was a little bit easier for the Haiya. All right, you can take a look at that up close. You can see the texture of the color. All right, can you see on this one that it's trying to scratch back? Let me get a little pointer so I can point it out to you guys. You can see right here, I can see a little bit of white of the paper, okay? I don't see that on the Sen version, but definitely the Haiya wants to try to scratch back some of that white, but I can still see that yellow, okay? Let's try a different color. We'll do another layering test. We'll try a different color. Let's see, on top of that brown, maybe we'll try the blue. All right, we'll try the blue. All right, we'll try this, what is it? What do they call it? Ash blue. Okay, here's the Haiya on top of a Haiya. Ooh, that laid down pretty thick. This is a soft stick for this brand. Feels super easy. I don't even have to put hardly any pressure there. That lays down thick, nice, pretty good. Felt pretty good. Almost felt like I was using a Sen right there. All right, here's another same kind of color, but the Sen version. Make sure we have clean stick. All right. There, that lays down really nice. I can get that color to sit on top of that brown. Right, there's no scratching back. It's working about the same as this over here. Okay, let's take a look at that up close. You can see that blue on top of that brown. There's a little bit of scratch back happening right here. A little bit of less brown and a little bit more of the white of the paper. Over here, that doesn't happen with the Sens. It doesn't really scratch back. It just kind of wants to stick on top of that. Okay? All right, let's try a different one. Won't go with brown. Let's go with actually, let's do this. We'll try the blue, and then we'll put a green on top of the blue, okay? Like pretending we're doing like a forest or something. So I pretend I got a blue sky. Let me make sure I got a nice clean head on that. Okay, there we go. Let's put the blue down. Okay, we'll go over it like this. We'll go back again. Okay, here's the sun. Okay, about the same. Maybe we'll make it a little bit more. So it's about the same. Okay, now we're just going to spread it. And this spreads nice and easy. Super easy to spread the Haiyas. Oh my gosh. They are so smooth. They are feeling good. Man, look at that. Nice. Just totally cover that paper up with zero problem. God, it's so nice. Right? Let's not contaminate the test there. So make sure I got clean hands. Okay, this is turning longer than I thought, but whatever. So I want you guys to see these two up against each other. Okay. And let's start spreading this out. Now, I would say feel-wise, the Haiyas were easier to spread. There was less resistance. Less resistance, okay? Felt slicker, right? Felt a little softer on this color, right? Obviously, the white Sen is really creamiest of them all, probably. All right, but we got good coverage on the paper. As you can tell, there's no white coming off the back side of that. Let's put the green on top of that. All right, let's grab that green. Okay. Let's do the Haiya on the Haiya. We're going to just draw a line here. Okay. You can see the color sits good on top. Got a little texture off it. That was good. Let's do the same. I got a nice clean edge on that. Let's do the same with the Sen. I'm just going to draw a line. Sits right on top. No problem. Take an up close look at that. Compare those two right there. Pretty close, right? Same up here. Pretty close, although I got a little bit of scratch back up here. Okay, now we're going to layer a Sen on top of a Haiya, and then we're going to layer a Haiya on top of a Sen. We're going to see if that works. All right, they can layer on top of themselves, which is good. Now we'll take the Haiya over here on top of this Sen and see if I can put a nice line in there. Okay. For the most part, that worked pretty good. We'll do the Sen on top of this. Felt pretty good there. There's the Sen on top of the Haiya. There's the Haiya on top of the Sen. I would say that the Sen was a little better in that little test. Okay, let's do the same with some of these other colors up here. We'll go with this Sen, orange, whatever you want to call this, yellow, I guess. On this brown here, the Haiya brown, let's just see what it looks like here. I'm just going to draw one line, right? Moderate pressure, I didn't really push in that hard. You can see the brown coming through, but it pretty much will sit on top for the most part. Here's the Haiya on that brown on the Sen. Let's just kind of drag this right here. Ooh, I got to put a little bit more pressure. I'm getting a little bit more brokenness on that. Let's try that again. Might have to push in a little bit on this. Let's see if I can do that. It doesn't want to really sit as well on top. It was starting to break, and I can see a lot of that brown underneath. So far, I think the Sen layer is just a little bit better as far as sitting on top. Sitting on top. Okay, let's try a different color. We'll go with the red. Why not? Red, or we should do the blue. No, let's go with the blue. I think because these are close in color than those reds are. All right, so I'm going to see the Haiya on top of the brown. Okay, the Haiya on top of the brown. I'm just going to drag a line right here. Okay. That felt pretty good, nice and thick. That's the Haiya on a Sen brown. I will take the Sen blue on the Haiya brown. Okay. That's a little bit of brokenness. Let's do another one for that. Just see what else. There we go. All right. Seems like this blue is just creamier than this blue, in my opinion. Because I guess when it comes down to these, it really comes down to the colors as far as, how soft they are or how easy they are to work with. All right, hang on a second. So there's just a little test, and here's my thoughts on this. This brand Haiya is the closest thing I've used to Sennelier in the 15 years I've been using oil pastels. They're very close. And in fact, on some colors, like for example this blue, I felt the Haiya outperformed the Sen blue. It just seemed creamier, it seemed thicker, it seemed I can get a little bit more and easier coverage. Same with the pale yellow. I felt the Haiya had retained a little bit more of its pigment, more of its color when I started spreading it out. This kind of faded out on me, this Sen yellow. So I felt the Haiya yellow was a little bit better on that test. When we came to the greens, I felt, the Sen green was just better. It was creamier, it laid down thicker, laid down a little bit more color. When I spread it out, it retained more of its color. Same with the red. When it came to the white, okay, the Sen white is still the best white. It still is. This doesn't mean this is a bad white. This is the second best white. But this by alone, this is the best white you can get on the market. Okay, when you want a nice, bright, opaque whiteness, you need to do a highlight. The Sen white's the best. This is a good close second. Okay, but this one's going to lay thicker. It's going to lay better texture, and it's just going to be whiter. All right, if you need that effect. When it comes to layering, they're pretty close. They're pretty close. I tried different colors here. I noticed with the Haiya, we want a little bit of scratch back sometimes, where the Sens kind of lay a little bit more on top. But they're so close, it's just hard to tell, even on different colors there. Okay, so as far as their layering and test, they're hand in hand. They're pretty close. It's hard to tell which one's better. It just kind of depends on the color. Some colors in Haiya's are better. Some colors in Sens are better. Definitely the white on Sen is better. It's thicker. All right, so they both layer on top of themselves. They both spread very easily. They're nice and creamy. Sometimes the Sen felt a little creamier. Sometimes the Haiya felt creamier. Again, it depended on the color. All right, so they're close. They're neck and neck. Pros and cons. Let's talk a little bit about that. Number one pro for this brand is cost. Right, this 48 count set here, that cost me $43.90 on Amazon, and I got a couple extra goodies with it. All right, $43.90 for a 48 count box comes to less than $1 per stick. I mean, how do you beat that when this costs about $4.55 per stick? Okay, it's kind of spendy. Maybe in a set it's a little bit better, but these are expensive. Okay, and if you go with a grand, you're well over into what, the $12, $13, $14 range for a grand. That gets spendy, right? If you're on using oil pastels and you got a budget, probably want to go with the highest. Just saying, it's not a bad way to go. Okay, so that's pro. That's pro for the highest. All right, pros for the Sens. Open stock ability. I can buy these open stock. I can just buy one color if I run out. I don't have to go buy a whole new set. If I run out of one color, and you can see starting to run out of the white a little bit, if I run out, I can't just go replace the white. I got to buy a whole new set. I don't like that. I like to be able to buy individual colors. I can go down to the Blick Art Store and they have a huge selection of Sens, and I can just buy one stick if I just want one stick. So open stock availability in the United States, better for the Sens, easier to find. Layering ability. I would say pros and cons. It depends on the color. I would say they're neck and neck. I would say that they're pretty close. Sometimes the Haiya wants to do a little bit of a scratch back. I felt like sometimes the Sen wanted to layer down a little bit more thickness, a little bit more texture, but they're so close, it's really hard to tell. I'm going to say that's a tie. All right. This is the best brand you can get closest to Sennelier that I've used. All right. These new Paul Rubens, these Haiyas, these This is a great, and I actually wish I would have gotten the 72 count set. In fact, I might go get the 72 count set so I have both the 72 count and the 48. I like them that much, and I'm going to be using them a lot more, and I'm going to do a lot more demonstrations and tutorials with them, and that's coming in the future. All right, so there's that test. For me, it's hard to pick one or the other. They're so close. Sometimes I like the way the Sun felt. Sometimes I like the way the Haiya felt. Really came down to the color. Um, these are more affordable to buy, to buy a set. And sorry, my dog, dog is like barking in his sleep. And but I'm able to get open stock. So it's a toss-up, guys, and I think it just is down to what you like. I have more experience with these Sens. If I were to pick one and money wasn't a factor, like if money wasn't a factor, I'd probably go with the Sens, just because I just have that much more experience with them. So maybe that'll change after I use these for a while, and maybe a year or two from now, I might go with these Haiyas. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, and this is going to come later because this test is going to take a while, is we're going to test the light fastness of these Haiyas. So I'm going to do a little color test. I'm going to lay out some colors of Haiyas. I'm going to lay out some colors of Sens on a sheet somewhat like this. All right, and I'm going to put them in my window for 6 months. All right, and I'm going to expose one part of it to the window and one part of it to just the studio light. And in 6 months, I'm going to see if these Haiyas hold up. I'm going to see if the Haiyas hold up their color. I know the Sens hold up their color. I've done that before. I've done that light fest before. The Sens hold up their color. They're strong for a long, long, long time. I don't know about the Haiyas. We'll try that out. So that's coming. That's a future video that's coming. Another video that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a varnish test on these Haiyas. I'm going to see what a varnish on top of it looks like, what it feels like, how much varnish does it take. And I got a couple of them here. We got this one by Winsor & Newton. I got the Sennelier one. And I got my favorite varnish right now. It's this Krylon UV Archival Matte Varnish right here. So I'll probably start with this one first. And what I'll probably do is I'm going to varnish this painting that I did just a few days ago, actually. It's the second painting I did with the Haiyas. No, the first painting I did with the Haiyas. And this piece is 100% Haiyas, including the Haiya White. Okay, that's 100% Haiyas on that Clairefontaine mixed media paper. All right, so there's no other brand there, and I'm going to put that UV Krylon archival varnish on it, and we'll see how many layers it takes to get coverage on it. Okay, so that's coming to in a future video. But right now, this video is done. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, especially if you have experience in these Haiyas. If you made some paintings with it, please leave a comment. Let me know what your experience is. Let me know what you've gone through, your experience. That would be really helpful. And, I'm not trying to pick teams. If you're Team Sen or if you're Team Haiya, I know we kind of get territorial sometimes as human beings, but this is not really about that. This is really just trying to do a direct comparison. Again, these Haiyas are the closest things I've used to Sennelier in any brand I've used. All right, they're closer than the Neo Pastels. I thought Neo Pastels were pretty good, but now these Haiyas kind of are trumping those Neo Pastels as far as their softness and how close they are to the Sens. All right. Okay, video's done. I'm gonna upload this again. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please give me your thoughts. All right. Have a good day. Goodbye.